Alright, let me take you through the list. We got Portland cement, which can be bought at Home Depot or Lowe's. We got perlite, which can be bought at any gardening center. We have over here some play sand. We got some... Wait, how'd this get in the way? Okay. We got this over here, which can be bought at Walmart. It is a clay cat litter. We got this over here, which can also be bought at Walmart. This one is a crystal cat litter. And the hardest one to find would be this one, which can be bought at Lowe's. It has to be 100% lye. Or you could buy it maybe at True Value. I haven't really checked. Alright, that'll conclude it for our materials. Now let's take a look at some of the accessories we'll need. If I can have your attention over here. Okay, what we have here is a hot plate. We have solo cups. We have ourselves a scale. And of course, we have a blender here. And we have some safety equipment here. These are gloves, really thick. And these are safety glasses. Step 1 will require a blender and our crystal cat litter. If you can get the unscented kind, please do so. It only helps you out. Whew. This is where that unscented one really comes in handy. This is before, this is after the blender. This step right here will save you a lot of time. Okay, these are the weights. You got 200 grams of the 100% lye drain cleaner. You got 300 grams of the cat litter. This is silica gel. Prefer the unscented kind. If I didn't grind this up, they would be filled to the top of these 2 cups. But since I did grind them, they fill up to this point here. Now if you don't have a scale, I got a tape measure. This is about 3 inches up. That's about 1 3/4 inches up. We're doing this for production because we have to make this quite a few times to get the right amount of water glass that we need. If you think you're going to need to make up a lot of this stuff, you'll need 2 of these to consume 1 bag of this. And I forgot to mention, that's 300 milliliters of water, or you could do it 1.5 cups of water. Okay, now that we have everything measured out, we're going to start cooking it. Crank it all the way up. Okay, this is where things start getting dangerous. You're going to need your fan on. I'm going to turn it off right now so I don't have to talk over it. Okay, I'm going to now add the water into the whatever container you're going to use. Turn the heat on. The water is cold. And if you start sprinkling this into cold water, the reaction will not happen. So even though you're going slow, it won't start reacting. And then all of a sudden, it's going to realize it's getting warmer, and it's going to all take off at once. So start off with the water warmed up, or it just will catch you off guard. And if you do this in glass, this heats up so fast, the thermal shock will shatter the glass. I will skip ahead for this. Alright then, after we've added all that, we're going to start adding the silica gel. Now you're going to want to go slow. If you go too fast, it will clump up into a ball and it will not dissolve, and you'll be sitting there with a stick or something trying to stab it for hours. So go slow with this, especially towards the end. you'll regret going fast. I don't want to fool any of you. I am wearing protective gear. I'm just now getting started. And the mask is very necessary even if you're outside, because I know a lot of you are probably doing this, thinking, oh, how far is production going? And you're going to be breathing in the fumes. So wear a mask even outside. I would recommend it. This, in case something splashes in your eye, you will go blind. In fact, people will go blind when they get lye in their eye. And the gloves are necessary. You will get chemical burns. Here. I'm coming towards the end of my last cup. It gets really frosty, very foamy. A thick foam here. See, towards the end, I mean, I still got quite a bit, but this is where things start getting difficult. Like I said, it develops this frost. I've turned down the heat to about half, because if I don't, it overwhelmingly foams up. Oops, probably a little bit too much for camera's sake. You gotta be careful with this. Notice how thick this is. A lot of my water is evaporating. Alright, this isn't really hot. It's just room temperature because the water starts off so cold. Watch what happens when I add this water. The water reacts with the mixture. I keep adding water until it stops reacting so vigorously. I believe as long as it's reacting, you're still making water glass. You're not quite yet diluting it, because it is reacting. If you store this and it becomes a solid mass afterwards, you could actually reheat the container you put it in, and when you heat it up, you can add more water to it, and you can save your product if it accidentally gets stored when it's too thick. This stuff really never dries out. It never cures. I've kept containers now for months. As long as you make sure at the end here the water that you add doesn't react to it when you go to store it. Oh, it's calming down quite a bit. Stir this in. Now this is starting to be perfect. Alright, I've turned the heat off. Gonna let this cool down now. This stuff, when it cools down, acts a lot differently. This is when it's warm. But when it cools off, it'll have a completely different behavior to it. Right now, when it's hot, it's really fluid, but it becomes really thick when it cools. That looks like the right stuff to me. This amount right here will do a lot. I've made a lot with this, but I unfortunately need a lot more. So I'm going to put this into storage, let it cool down, and I'm going to amass a bunch of it. That's why the production's for. Okay, I gotta stop saying okay every single time. Alrighty then. Next step is to crush up the clay cat litter. This one is not bentonite. Oops. And I know that. Oops. The only way to test what kind of clay this is that I found reliable is to fill this up with the clay into a tube and then add just a little bit of water, or a lot, it don't matter. Oh, I did not get that on camera. But you can see it fell out at the bottom right here in this pile. That's how you know this one's not the bentonite. Anyway, what you're gonna do now is, if you just add this like this, it's way too clumpy. It won't give you a good product. This one you have to crush up. Alright, now that we ground this up, I needed 1 cup of this. I had to fill 2 cups into here because when you grind it, it becomes a lot finer. Alright. What we have here is, we got, well, come in closer, take a closer look at this. This is our clay before it went into the blender. This one right here is our ground up cat litter. This is the clay cat litter put into a blender. This right here is our Portland cement that we got from Home Depot's. This is a play sand, pretty heavy grain. I have 2 of them here, although you could go up to 4, which some people usually do. Who threw that? I don't know who did that. Alright, back to over here. And this right here is perlite. This is very fine grain perlite. What we'll do here is we're going to take a bucket and mix all these components in. Always put your dry mixes in first. You'll notice a hazy look through my lens. I just got a bunch of dust in it. I'm gonna have to clean my lens. Maybe run my phone underwater or something. Something really clever. I wouldn't recommend doing much more than this at once. This stuff will harden pretty quick. Okay, this is the water glass. Oh, my camera numbers are upside down. Notice how it goes from a blue to a pink. This is pretty much this with Drano and water. So I find it kind of strange that it all turns out pink in the end. I would expect it to be blue. That right there is when I balled up the skin so I could show you guys how fluid it still is. The skin kind of protects it from drying out. Alright, let's dunk the phone in there. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Sometimes when I look at it, I just want to take a sip. Okay, what we got here is black PVC piping. It is about 2 inches off the ground here. I'm going to take paper and I'm going to wrap the pipe. And that will allow this to slide out when I am done. Because the cement is going to be very sticky. It's going to stick to everything. Okay, now that we have everything set up, I have a floor to build it on, a cavity. I'm going to now make my cement and just cover it. Here I have my sodium silicate. I've marked off with a piece of tape the starting point so I can see how much of this stuff I'm about to use in this first batch. We want to make this as thick as possible. A lot thicker than you might ever imagine. Gonna mix it in as I go. Broke my stick. I'd like you all to have it closer to the See, when I move it, there's a lot that just doesn't mix in. You're gonna have to massage it all in. This process could take a while, but you don't want to add anything more to it.
Here's all their image of mixing here. We get all the dry stuff in. Now you might get impatient here and add more sodium silicate, but there's no need for it. In fact, I could probably make this even thicker. Keep mixing the dry powder in with the other stuff. Always make this all the same consistency. See, still a lot of dry powder. Kind of convenient out on the table, to be honest. I've been doing this inside the bucket. Alright, there you have it. It's almost like a Play-Doh. There's one batch.
Obviously, if you could build a form, that would be the way to go. I made a mistake of taking the gloves off to operate the camera. Really difficult to get back on. Yeah, it's not perfect. Well, that's fine. I actually made this a little too heavy on the sodium silicate side. But this is how much I've used from the bottom of this tape. Bottom of that tape. 1 3/4 inches. Even this surface right here, that's sticky. So not even an hour later, and it's already turned into this. For some reason, this makes me hungry for brownies. That should be plenty thick. It's only about 1 inch. This is the cement after it's cured onto the gloves. It is very satisfying to rip it all apart. Over time, this will probably ruin the gloves. There's about 3 batches of sodium silicate in here. This is when it's cooled off to room temperature. Maybe a little bit cooler in here. A lot of fun stuff to play with. Mixing the 3 batches together like this, it makes it more consistent like this, because sometimes one batch is thicker, the other one's more watered down. But if you just mix them all together, you'll get a lot more consistency out of it. That is thick. I know you all want to see it, because I want to do it. If I want to do it, then you want to see me do it. Oh yeah, that's thick. What a huge mess I am making here.